Alright, what's poppin'? It's your boy Big Rich, Queens, New York City, where we get busy. And may I introduce the new series under the Mob Stories umbrella called The Other Government. To sum it up in a nutshell, what the Mafia did and what every type of Mafia did was basically form their own government because the government that was in power was not for them. And that is extremely bold, and that is why we love these mob stories. So, with all the books that I've collected and donated to me and I've bought, I have a plethora of information to start at a certain point in the beginning. We weren't there for the beginning, but the beginning from where we can actually account for things that happened. And we're going to start with Joe the Boss, Giuseppe Masseria. And I'm going to try to go in chronological order with these stories. Look at these stories like baseball cards. When I was a kid and I was reading about the mob, I kind of divided up the families like they were baseball teams, yeah? The managers were the bosses, the captains, the underbosses, the consiglieres. They were all players. You had the heavy hitters, yeah? You had the money guy. I looked at it like they were different baseball teams. So look at these stories like baseball cards. Each story, each card has the player's history in the back and the stats and all that stuff. That's how I kind of look at it. So here's the very first episode of The Other Government by Big Rich, a Mob Stories production. Giuseppe Joe the Boss Masseria was an Italian-American mobster who rose to prominence during the Prohibition era. He was one of the key figures in the Castellammarese War, a bloody power struggle between two rival factions of the Italian-American Mafia that took place in the 1920s. Masseria was a feared and respected figure in the world of organized crime, and his influence extended well beyond the New York City area where he was based. Masseria was born in Memphis, Sicily in 1886. He came from a poor family and had little formal education, leaving school at a young age to help support his family. He emigrated to the United States in 1903 and settled in New York City. There he became involved in criminal activities and quickly rose through the ranks of the local Italian-American Mafia. Masseria's early criminal career is shrouded in mystery, but he is believed to have been involved in various illegal activities, including extortion, gambling, and prostitution. He was known for his ruthless tactics and his willingness to use violence to achieve his goals. In the 1920s, Masseria became embroiled in a power struggle with another Italian-American mobster named Salvatore Maranzano. The two men represented different factions of the Italian-American Mafia. Masseria was aligned with the old guard Sicilian Mafia, while Maranzano represented a newer, more cosmopolitan group of Italian-American gangsters. The conflict between Masseria and Maranzano became known as the Castellammarese War, named after the town in Sicily where Maranzano was born. The war was characterized by a series of violent clashes between two factions as each side tried to eliminate its rivals and consolidate its power. Masseria was a key player in the Castellammarese War, and he was known for his strategic thinking and his ability to manipulate others. He had a number of high-level associates who helped him in his efforts to gain control of the Mafia, including Charlie Luciano. Luciano was a rising star in the Italian-American Mafia during the 1920s, and he became one of Masseria's most trusted allies. The two men had a complex relationship that was based on mutual respect and a shared desire of power. Luciano was impressed by Masseria's ability to outmaneuver his enemies and consolidate his power base. He saw Masseria as a mentor and a father figure, and he was willing to do whatever it took to help him achieve his goals. At the same time, however, Luciano was ambitious and had his own plans for the future. He saw Masseria as a means to an end, and he knew that he would eventually have to turn on him if he wanted to achieve his own goals. In 1931, Luciano and a group of other mobsters organized the assassination of Masseria. The killing took place in a Coney Island restaurant where Masseria was meeting with his associates. Luciano and his men burst into the room and opened fire, killing Masseria and several of his associates. Masseria's death marked the end of the Castellammarese War and the beginning of a new era in the Italian-American Mafia. Luciano and his associates went on to create a new, more centralized mafia organization and would come to dominate organized crime in the United States for decades.